welcome to the project, Chris.
Afternoon.
Okay, I'd like to start with, can you tell us where you were born and when you were born?
Where I was born, I'm one of those rare breeds. I was born literally a mile and a half that way, back in the dim distant past, when dinosaurs roamed the earth in 1959.
And where did you spend your childhood?
We moved from just off Lewis Road up to Whitehall. We moved there when I was, about 3. I managed to escape when I was 16. But yeah, my childhood, Whitehall.
Thank you. We're going on to a section called Teddy Bears now, and I'd like to ask you, did you have a teddy bear?
Did I have a teddy bear? Do I look as if I'd own a teddy bear? I had an Action Man, and it used to beat up my sister's teddy bears.
Right.
Caused many ructions.
So you didn't have a teddy bear as such?
No, I'm just trying to think if I had any cuddly toys. No, I don't think I did, ever.
Okay. You mentioned dolls in a way. Did you play with any dolls?
Well, it's one of those things. Do you count using my Action Man to beat up my sister's dolls as playing with dolls?
Yes.
Okay, I play with dolls.
And can you tell me about this doll?
Well, the Action Man was great. It got me into an awful lot of trouble because I'd dress him up in his combat uniforms and put him in the back garden, and then go and nick my dad's darts and run around the garden throwing the darts from different angles at the Action Man. And it gets slightly more disturbing than that. Afterwards, when I was in the bath, I'd take the Action Man into the bath and drown him, and then hold him up by his head and watch all the water spurt out of all the different holes all over his body.
Did it have a name?
No, I don't think I ever gave him a name. I didn't expect him to live long enough to have a name.
And how did you feel about this particular doll?
How did I feel about that doll? That's really, really weird. Seeing as I put him through so much, very, very little, I think. It was just another thing to play with. I don't know. I've never really thought about that question, to be honest. No. I come from quite a big family. I've got 2 brothers and 2 sisters. And thinking about it now, I think I took out a lot of my frustration from my brothers and sisters on my Action Man doll because it couldn't fight back.
So was this doll important to you then?
No, I can't even remember what happened to it in the end, so no, I don't think so.
And you shared some memories of it already. Are there any other memories that you'd like to share? So Chris, we're going to talk a little bit now ask you a little bit now about construction toys.
Okay.
And would you like to tell me what you understand by the term construction toy?
Construction toys, anything from Lego to Airfix, with stopping off at Meccano and these new little ones you've got which are balls where you put little sticks in, and it's anything that you make anything out of.
Right.
So, yeah.
Any further examples you'd like to give?
Construction toys, I suppose you could even say that pottery, if you're making porcelain or clay dolls or whatever, that could be classed as construction.
Okay. And how do you feel about construction toys?
I always remember when I was young, because I come from a big family, we used to get farmed out to my grandparents who lived up in Uckfield. My granddad had a box, and he'd made the box himself for all his Meccano. And I can always, they bought some Lego because brothers and sisters going up there, and it was always sort of like Meccano for the boys, Legos for the girls, and I always remember a certain sense of disappointment almost from my granddad when I tried making something with Lego, with Meccano, got bored with it, and went onto the Lego and started playing with the Lego, and it's sort of like, yes, you're not going to be a mechanic, are you? But, of course, when I was younger, I did get into the Airfix models and stuff. You know, everybody made Airfix models and then blew them up with fireworks.
Any particular models that you focused upon?
I always wanted to be a Second World War fighter pilot. I still do, they've got one just out in the hallway there. The Spitfire, I've always loved the shape of the Spitfire. But I grew up in a time when sitting down and watching the Sunday afternoon war film was the thing. Everybody did it, and so yeah. I mean, I think I built my own RAF. I had Lancasters and the Mosquito as well. I loved the shape of those, but they all got blown up come November the 5th, leading up to November the 5th. You know, there'd be the Airfix kit that I'd spent days making. With a rocket strapped underneath it, or a banger strapped to the wing. Yeah.
Did you paint them?
Not at first. It was that thing about, got them, want to make them, want to see the end product. And then as I got older, it's like, yeah.
How important were these toys to you, or these models to you?
How important were they? When I was making them, that was the thing that had to be done. You know? As soon as they were made, it was like, okay, and then they were dust gatherers. But don't know whether this is relevant or going off on a tangent. I'm a recovering alcoholic, and I went through various. When I first started coming off the booze, I tried going through various different recovery models, and they never worked. And I was told by my key worker that when I come off the booze, I would emotionally revert to when I started to drink. And I started drinking at a very, very young age. So I decided to embrace that and started doing the models. And I actually used that as a way to help me get off the booze. So you could say in later life, in my second childhood, they become far more important than in my first.
And the toys from your childhood, can you remember, you mentioned some names and some models?
The Spitfire and the Mosquito and the Lancaster. And I still do have a love, whenever there's an air show, see them flying, it's like, yeah. I've never flown, I've never actually been up in the air in an airplane. But just seeing them sitting there, or seeing them on TV even, I'd love to see it. It does make me feel, I hate to sound really, really horribly cliche, but it still makes me feel a kid whenever I see it, or whenever I see them. But yeah.
How did you come to own these construction toys?
Paper round. Do the paper round, have the money in my pocket, and it's sort of like, yeah. And even the artwork on the boxes, the artwork on the original Airfix boxes were quite gruesome. You look at them now and it's been sanitised slightly, but in the old days you could see the bullets going into the Messerschmitts, or the bombs dropping, houses blowing up. Really, really gruesome pictures for their time.
Can you remember where you bought these?
There was a shop when I used to get taken up, when I used to spend summers up at my grandparents up in Upfield. There was a shop literally at the end of the road, 5 minutes walk down the road, and there was another one on Upfield High Street. I can't remember any specific toy shops in Brighton I used to go to. I think I bought a couple from the old Woolworths along Western Road. But no, most of the kits I got, and again, looking back at it, I can see the influence from my granddad. Second World War memories and all that. I can see the influence now that played. It's like, the Second World War, because Airfix did all the different models. From you could have buses or taxis, but I never made any of those. It was always that, from that era, from that specific era, and from the RAF, Wouldn't do the German planes. Oh no, the Germans were bad, English were good. Bizarre.
Presumably the battleships didn't get a look in then.
No, not really, no. Even tanks and that. I did have a collection of airfix soldiers, ground troops, but no, the kits were always the planes.
So these toys were these toys important to you, would you say?
Again, it's one of those weird. I know I blew up most of them, but no, not really. I mean, I think it was more at the time. It was more important to do them.
Okay. And do you have any more memories that you'd like to share with regards to these construction toys?
Construction toys. I'm just trying to think now. It's a strange one. Let me think. Give me a moment. I always remember never putting the pilots in them. And that's weird. Why did I suddenly think of that? Don't know why. You know, I'd spend hours. You know, when I got into that stage of being really sort of like almost OCD and getting all the paints on the decals, the one thing I'd always leave out was the pilots. I don't know whether it was me thinking, oh no, if I put the pilot in I can't blow them up or anything. But I don't know. Bizarre.
Thank you. I'm just going to ask you again if you can remember whether you had a teddy bear at all, a cuddly toy.
No, and I'm sure it's not me just trying to reinforce my blokiness, saying I never had a cuddly toy. But no, I think I can. No, even from a young age. I mean, the first toy I can ever remember is an old battered little Matchbox Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. But no cuddly toys at all. And
just a couple of closing questions now. Did you ever want a teddy bear, doll, or construction toy that you couldn't have?
Did I ever want any doll construction toy? I always wanted Lego, I always craved Lego, I always loved making Lego. Usually made guns out of Lego. Why? Doll? No. I always wanted the top of the range Action Man figure. I don't know. No, I don't think I ever wanted a doll or a teddy bear. That's an interesting one. No.
But you wanted the top of the range Action Man figure.
Yeah.
And did you manage to get those?
No. It was, and my Lego collection was never as big as I ever wanted it to be.
When you had your Lego collection, what did you do with it?
Mainly built guns and spaceships.
Okay. Are there any other memories of teddy bears, dolls, or construction toys that you'd like to talk about?
I'm just trying to think there. I mean, the associations, you know, talking about teddy bears and dolls and that, the only associations I've really got is, as I say, my Action Man beating up my sister's dolls and teddy bears and holding them at gunpoint or putting them up against the wall just prior to the firing squad. But I mean, I grew up in a time when blokes were supposed to be blokes and girls were supposed to be girls, and I think that had a big influence on my choice in toys. Without even thinking about it, without even being aware of it, you know, that's just the way it was.